Welcome to the 7th Circle of Hell! You made it! This is a new series I'm starting that's kind of similar to my old OC's one. But for this one, I'm gonna go through OCs who I abandoned. And, explaining their stories, redrawing them in my style, and at the end I'm gonna judge how likely it would be that I unabandon them. Unabandon? Reown? Readopt? I don't know. Possibility that I'd go back to them again. So, this story is called Beeswax, and the main characters were Maxine Collins and Beatrice Gates. Who I'm drawing right now is Max, and the reason I made this story was because one day I realized that I didn't actually know what I wanted my perfect self to be. It's hard to explain. Like, what you dream to be, what you dream to look like and act like, stuff like that. And because I didn't know this for myself, I didn't really know what I was striving for as a person. I had no goals set for myself, no big wish figured out, I guess. So I made Max, and she looked like what I wanted to look like back then, which, that's a thing. She acted cocky and confident and wasn't afraid to get in a fight if needed, and I've always been weak, and I've always been the one who gets beat up for no reason. So that was a big contrast that I wanted. She was also an aspiring musician, which I can't think for nothing, my dudes. I can't even talk right. I'm not gonna be the next Carly Rae Jepsen, though I would like to be her girlfriend. So, she had this ability that I didn't have, but wanted. Also, I first made her when I was 14, and that was the time when I sort of realized that, despite my best efforts, I'm attracted to girls, and I could either accept that fully or keep on trying to shove it away. I also realized around that time that most places in America are alright with gay people. I just so happen to live in a very homophobic town, and in the future I can move away and be open and happy with a girl one day. So this was my first romance-based story between two girls, which now I have a lot, you guys know. This was the second story I ever made, right after Sight, and Sight was just a heterosexual field of chaos and love triangles that I didn't even like, but all the other books I was into at the time had love triangles, so I was like, fuck dude, guess I gotta! Also, I kind of wound up taking Max's name and using it as my own for a couple of years, after I realized that I wanted to be called Max. Yeah, one day it kind of just clicked that, hey, I could do that. Tell people to start calling me Max. And I did, and it worked. Whoa! So the story was pretty simple. God, I wrote that before I wrote this story, and the story is like 2 pages long. Okay, Max failed a grade and had to take classes with the students a year below her. And one of those students was Beatrice Gates, who she sits next to in class. They start a friendship, and Max gets a crush on her. But they live in a very conservative town, so she doesn't pursue it because there's not a very likely chance that Bees is attracted to girls or not homophobic. So she just doesn't want Bees to hate her and keeps it a secret. Yeah, also Bees has a boyfriend, but he is horrible to her. She's overweight, and he makes it seem like he's doing her a favor for dating her instead of a skinnier girl. It's like a charity, but he makes her get on ridiculous diets too, and says condescending things like, wow, you look beautiful today, I told you if you stick to the diet plan you'd be pretty, and just bullshit like that. Fucking, that's your man crush Monday, bitch. And Max is straight up in love with her, and she has to see this and not beat him up every time she sees him, which is difficult to do. And she wants to tell Bees that she's beautiful and she's worth so much more than her appearance, and her dumbass boyfriend only cares about her body and is using her like a project that he could work on. But she's too afraid to go too far and make Bees suspicious about her real feelings. So she starts leaving her gifts and letters under the name Dot as a secret admirer because she still wants to tell her all this stuff. Also, this is kind of a side thing in the story, but Max wants to start doing music professionally and convinces a restaurant to let her play a gig on her 16th birthday because they don't let anyone under that age perform. But Max wants to make an original song that's better than all her other ones, and she can't figure out what to do, so Bees comes over to her house often to help her out. And Bees doesn't realize that she becomes Max's muse, but Max starts making these songs, these really sad songs, about a forbidden love and whatnot, and Bees encourages it because those songs seem like the most real and emotional ones, and the best ones. Later on in the story, Bees faints at school due to one of the diets, and winds up in a coma for 2 months, because I don't know how things work. I was 14 at the time. Well, Max visits as often as she can, and plays her guitar and sings to her while she's sleeping. And Bees can hear her in the coma, but it's garbled and hazy, really hard for her to remember. But she knows that whoever's singing to her is Dot, her secret admirer. When she finally wakes up, Max is one of the first people notified behind her parents. Now, when she was in the coma, she lost a good bit of weight, but she felt dizzy and sick the whole time. So she meets up with her boyfriend, and he hugs her and kisses her very sweetly, and she's in awe, thinking that he was worried, and now he's finally caring about her. But then he tells her that she's finally beautiful. So she's disgusted with him, and pushes him away and runs out of his house, where Max is, because she drove her there, and is waiting in the car just in case. Because, like, she could kind of tell that wasn't going to end up good. So Bees tells her to take her home, but Max drives her down a dirt road and to an empty field where they have a picnic. They watch the sunset and see the stars brighter than in the city, and Max tells her how important she is and just everything that her boyfriend should have been saying to her. And Bees starts getting suspicious that Max is Dot. Once she gets back home, her parents tell her that her mom got a promotion when she was in the coma, and they're moving to a different state. They were supposed to move a few weeks beforehand, but didn't because Bees was in the coma, so they have everything packed and they're leaving that night. Max also knew this and didn't tell her, but wanted to have one last day with her, so that's why she brought her to the field. I know it's one of the oldest tricks in the books, but I was 14. So she moves away, but she and Max still text and keep in contact, but of course they start falling apart because of distance. A few months later, it's finally Max's birthday, and she's gonna play that gig at the restaurant. She finally has a song, and it's the one that she was writing and singing to Bees when she was in her coma. Fully written now. She assumed that Bees wouldn't go because of how far she is, but lo and behold, she notices Bees in the crowd halfway through the song that's all about how much she loves Bees. Max freaks out a bit, but figures, fuck it, it's now or never, so she finishes the whole song. Now, the song is actually Goodbye by Kesha. I'm not creative enough to write my own song, but if you don't want to listen to it, the song's about someone moving away before she had the chance to tell them that she loves them, and still being in love with them after they fall apart. So, you know, I wrote the story to fit around the song. Lame. So, Bees has a Camp Rock moment where she's like, that's it! That's the song! And is finally 100% sure that Max is Dot. And after Max gets off the stage, she runs outside to hide in her car because she's so embarrassed. And so scared. She's so scared. And Bees follows her and tells her to bring her home. So Max brings her back to the field, and they lay on the car in silence, looking up at the stars. And Bees grabs Max's hand, kisses her knuckles, and says, I love you, Dot. And that's how the cookie crumbles. Now, before I started writing this out for the video, I was gonna give this like a 40 or 30% chance at bringing back these OCs. But now that I just went through the whole story again in detail, I'm bringing it up to 60%. There's some parts that are iffy, but I still really like them a lot, and they had a lot to do with my development, like, in general. The story is kind of basic to the stuff that I do now, though. Like, now I have things with superpowers and magic and different realms and species, and the stories have couples in them, but it's not fully based on the couples, so it doesn't really... So this doesn't really have the wow factor that I like in my stories nowadays, or just a bunch of unique different stuff and designs. But it's a pretty good one to just relax to. So there's a good chance that I'd bring this back, but it would not be my top priority story. But also the fact that a copyright song is the main plot point is an issue I am going to have to fix. I'm not excited to fix that because I am not musically talented in any way, shape, or form. But thanks for watching. I have more videos like this planned if you like this one, so get ready for that. I can't really do my old OCs one anymore because like all the other ones have big stories, like big spoilers in the stories, and I don't want to spoil the stories for you guys. So all gonna be my abandoned ones. I just said thanks for watching, so I'll just say it again. Thanks for watching. Love you, Booth. Ka-chow. Now, before I started, ow, fuck. Oh, shit. I need to be hydrated. Slurp. Good sippy sip, just broke my phone. Where was I?